Well, greetings and welcome back. Remember, folks, the key word in artificial intelligence is the first word, artificial. As reality keeps slipping away from our day to day existence, be cautious out there. And I realize that the real world can be rough and unforgiving, but watch what you get yourself into because sometimes you can't get out. There's a lot of landmines out there. And I recall an experience I had back in 2013 when I went to visit my aunt, who was the most upbeat, pleasant, spontaneous person I've ever met. And the reason I went to see her was that she was on her deathbed. So this was quite painful for me. And we had a very special connection to each other. And she was the youngest of the six sisters on my mom's side of the family. And her condition was quite distressing. And this would be the last trip to see her. Naturally, I never forgot the day. And she was very close to the end. You couldn't help but see it. And to boot, she was a fairly young woman in the same, there was a fairly young woman in the same area. And this was a hospice facility. And she was walking around, and I caught her eyes as she looked at me, and she seemed very stoical and acted as if she was fine and at home. I consider myself to be a sensitive person. Well, it was a day I never forgot, and I broke down and sobbed when I left and quickly decided to drive home. And as soon as I could, I had a few beers to soothe me as I was quite decimated by the day's events and moved by the experience and had to come to terms with the fact that I would never see my favorite aunt again. And I enjoyed watching these sophisticated movies from the 1930s to around the 1950s when the actors and actresses would also greet you with the phrase, "How do you do?" If someone asked me that now, I would reply by saying, "How do I do what?" It depends on what I'm doing. I suppose that good, "How do you do?" is the proper reply, but no one says that anymore. An unusual experience in my life as I love to relate these because they make life interesting. And this was back in the Amtrak days, back in the 1990s. This guy who I've mentioned before was very intelligent, charming, and resourceful, and he was also a drug addict and alcoholic who somehow managed both at the same time. So while he was on one of his benders, he calls me up at 2:30 a.m. Yes, 2:30 a.m. in the morning and asked me if I can pick him up and drive him home from wherever he was. And I said, "Charlie, it's 2:30 in the morning. You just woke me up. You're going to have to figure this out by yourself." And he went on a bit of a rampage telling me that he was going to assassinate me. Yes, assassinate me, and spewing many other charming words. And I told him, "Charlie, I'm not a public official. I'm not a politician, so you can't assassinate me. And if you're going to come and kill me, well, I'll be waiting." And surprisingly, he laughed and shouted out a few more delightful words and hung up. But that was Charlie, always a rabble rouser. And for a guy that was about 5'5" and weighed about 110 pounds, he was absolutely fearless. Interesting character. I got a few more quotes here. In order to find your mind, you must first leave it, and that's unknown. Knowledge is good. That's the favorite college mantra from the movie Animal House. Take what you want and pay for it. That's a Spanish proverb. It's too early to tell, and that Julian Lies replied to a question about the impact of the French Revolution. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. Yogi Berra. Who else? If a man is standing in the middle of the forest speaking and there is no woman around to hear him, is he still wrong? George Carlin. Humility is the apex of virtue, and that's unknown. I still don't know who this unknown person is. I've never had a problem with drugs, but I have had problems with the police. That's Keith Richards. The human race has one really effective weapon, and that is laughter. And that's Mark Twain. One doesn't have a sense of humor, it has you. And that's Larry Gelbart, and I absolutely love that quote. Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. That's Walt Whitman. The secret of success is honesty and fair dealing. If you can fake those, you've got it made. Groucho Marx. In the depth of the coldest winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. That's Albert Camus. I was thinking about what a friend had said. I was hoping it was a lie. Those are lyrics from the song After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. You are free, that is why you are lost, Franz Kafka. In an episode of Basil Fawlty, an extremely funny British production that aired back in the late 1970s, a woman responding to her precocious son's behavior says, "My son is highly strung," and Basil Fawlty, played by John Cleese, replies by saying, "Yes, he should be." And white people have no business playing the blues, never, at all, under any circumstances. What the fuck do white people have to be blue about? Banana Republic ran out of khakis? The espresso machine is jammed? White people ought to understand that it's their job to give the blues, not to get them, and certainly not to sing or play them. I'll give you a little tip about the blues, folks. It's not enough to know which notes to play. You need to know why they need to be played. And that's George Carlin, one of his longer and meaningful quotes. The most beautiful skyline I ever seen was on the drive back home the day my mother passed away. I've witnessed some beautiful skylines before, but nothing like this. It was majestic, and I did tear up a bit in the car. It's like she was sending me a message saying, I'm okay. And I love the moment when Christine Nicholas, a woman I worked with in the Cablevision days, went to touch my arm while we ran into each other crossing the street in New York City. And I stopped, looked at her, and said, don't ever touch me again. Touch me again, I may have to kill you. And she was a friend. She was a friend. And Christine smiles and laughs, replied by saying, Slappy, I love you. And that was from the heart. And sadly, Christine passed away much too soon. She was only 36 years old and a wonderful woman with an incredible sense of humor and also very bright. She told me once that she wasn't surprised that our birthdays were just 2 days apart, and she was 14 years younger than me. And her passing hit me very hard. And I noticed that this was the third passage about death, one being my Aunt Babe, one being my mother, and lastly, Christine. All three of these women played a very significant role in my life. The price you have to pay today for making any appointment is 4 to 5 text messages and or emails in advance, reminding you that you have an appointment with them. And then once the appointment is over, you will now get the barrage of texts and or emails wondering how the appointment went. This is greatly overdone and annoying, and I no longer respond to any of these unless the text or email in advance requires additional information. It kind of makes you not want to make any appointments, but I suppose that's not an option. I'm going to present the things that I find quite lame in life, so here goes. Golf, Republicans, cults, including religious cults, which usually they are, racists, guns, arrogance, the word amazing, AI, trying to be cool, bowling, LOL, online shopping, staring at your phone as if it was your master, pickleball and cornhole, not returning texts or phone calls to friends, making a big deal out of a small thing, which I happen to be very good at, and people who are always right, which is rare these days, and narcissism. And lastly, what is the point of non-alcohol beer? It tastes horrible and you get no buzz or pick-me-up from it. What will they think of next? Non-alcohol gin, vodka, scotch? When I'm drinking, I want alcohol. Non-alcohol is not my cup of tea, and I am out.